Welcome, viewers. I am CJ, your host for Dating and Relationships, or DNR for short, podcast. I am excited to bring you real, authentic conversations about dating and relationships from all aspects of today. We're here sharing issues, questions, and or stories that will hopefully bring to light some answers, light entertainment, and more understanding of today's dating and relationship worlds we all have encountered. My guests on this podcast are volunteers from all walks of life and backgrounds and are eager to share some of their personal experiences to hopefully connect, build a community for growth, and specifically on this topic. Viewers are welcome to share some of their stories or if they relate to a specific episode, but in a very respectful and cordial manner. The hope is to reach as many viewers as possible, hopefully worldwide, to create understanding, communicate and learn from one another, and also to come together. Please enjoy the videos. Hi, welcome back, viewers. We're here with another show of long term relationships in the early stages and the growth during it. So, with me, I have a new friend, Bailey. Hi, how are you?
Good. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And we're going to get right to it. So, Bailey, go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Bailey. I am a veterinarian. I've been in the field for practicing for 2 years, but I've done my residency and all that. And then I also have my PhD as well. And so I've just been accumulating my schooling until I went into my field of practice.
Nice,
Yeah.
awesome. So, we have a doctor in the house, people, animal doctor, for those of you. I'll put her credentials and her contact information in the comments for future reference for those of you who might be curious about animal questions. There's a process. All right, so let's get back to dating and relationships. So, Bailey, I'm going to get straight to it. I'm going to ask you questions about, because you are in your mid 20s, you're starting out, and you feel like you're ready for long-term relationships, correct?
Yeah.
So, let me ask you, what was your idea of love growing up, and how was love or affection shown to you or in your family?
Yeah. So I believe I'm a pretty generic child when it comes to the time in which I was raised.
Hmm.
So my parents are very much, they provided the household. Both my parents worked. I'm an only child.
Okay.
So I stayed home by myself at a very, very young age.
Okay. So you had to grow up sort of by yourself?
Yeah. But I also think that helped me in a lot of ways in my life too. I'm
Hmm.
extremely independent.
Hmm.
And then I was put into 3K. So when you're three, you go to school.
Yeah.
So I started early
Hmm.
learning already.
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't really see a lot of I believe, like, a lot of love and affection from my parents because they were very busy. They were both working on their
Working.
careers.
Mm.
I was either home on my own for most of the time, I was at school, and then when they came back, I was young for a lot of my childhood, clearly. So I didn't have a lot of interaction with my
Okay.
parents, and I just wasn't able to see a lot of the love between them because they were going through hard times themselves.
So it's safe to say that growing up, love and affection wasn't something that it got daily exposed to, or you were exposed to. Basically, it's the grind, work, grind, study, and just get everything done. It's just the autopilot mode, I call it.
Yeah, that's a really good way to explain it. I definitely never saw like dancing in the kitchen. I didn't see what the movies depict, of two parents in love
Okay.
because they were just so busy working on their own careers because
Hmm.
they want to give me a better life than what they had.
So it's gonna be very interesting. Now I'm more curious to find out more about your upbringing and your perception of dating and relationship because this is important. There's a lot of viewers out there that might have the same experience as you, and maybe they may agree or relate to some of your way of thinking when it comes to this. So let's keep going. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, Now we already talked about that you didn't have a lot of exposure to what relationships was because your parents were very busy. But were you ever exposed to what a healthy relationship looks like growing up? by anyone, families, or anyone in particular that you can say, yeah, I know what a healthy relationship looks like. But if you didn't, you didn't.
Um, I believe in some aspects my own family probably was.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wasn't in a family in which didn't have love. It was just in a very different manner.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mother has love for me, and I love my mother.
Mm-hmm.
My father expresses things in a certain way,
Mm.
and
Different love languages.
yes, everyone is different. However, when it comes to like a conjoined family love, I definitely don't know if that was us as a family.
Okay.
But I know when I went over to like my friend's house
Mm-hmm.
and I saw like their parents cooking dinner together, I saw like the husband helping the wife helping the husband, and you just see what I would have as a child described as kind of like a connection in which I didn't see with
Mm-hmm.
my own parents. Not because it was lacking, they were just busy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it was definitely a different kind of vibe when you went to someone else's house and you saw
Yeah.
a different way of life there because it's not your life, it's someone
Right.
else's.
Right. Did you ever admire that, or like what was your feeling when you saw that?
I think for a while it was off-putting to me in such a strange way
Really?
because it was such a different way of life. Because I'm so used to going home, someone saying probably talking about my day in the car,
Mm-hmm.
getting home, getting told I have to do my schoolwork,
Mm.
having whatever
Like
dinner
a
at my
robot.
yeah, everything was very much
Mhm.
routine in my household. Nothing was really out of routine until it was out of routine kind of thing.
Mhm.
But everything was just by the book. My mother came home probably later than my father sometimes, and it switched, but the interaction between those my mother and my father was very limited. So when I went to someone else's
Yeah.
house and I see such cohesion,
Mhm.
it was very off-putting because
Really?
it didn't make sense to me because I'm like,
You
well,
didn't
that's not my
understand it.
household.
Yeah.
I don't get why they're just so entwined. Like it was just
Oh.
off.
So see, it just goes to show you that your product, you can't you the fact that you were off-putting, you were already becoming a product of your environment as like, what is that? What is that interaction? And it was off-putting to you because it was strange for you to see something like that. But again, it goes to show you that, like in a lot of cultures, a lot of this stuff does happen too.
Hmm.
So it's interesting. It's interesting. So in that sense, what values or beliefs about relationships were you taught
Oh,
as a child or a teen?
yeah. So me and my parents, we have never talked about relationships
Mm,
ever.
wow.
We've never talked about love. We've never talked about relationships. We
Mm,
never talked about dating. That's just never, we've never talked about it. But the values in which, as I have grown up, that I've seen through my parents and through my life,
mhm.
I've definitely have probably picked up some good habits and some bad habits. Some of the good habits that I picked up is that I do believe at the end of the day, I need to
Mhm,
make sure that I can take care of myself.
mhm,
I can't rely on anybody. I need to make sure that I can take care of myself no matter what happens.
mhm.
And I think at least for a lot of people I've seen throughout my life, they become very dependent on their partners. Therefore, if something rocky does happen, they get scared for themselves or they see themselves just falling off a rock. And I'm like, I don't ever want to do that. I've my mother's a very independent woman. And so I've seen that I need to make sure that no matter what, I can stand on my own.
Right, right,
That
right.
if for whatever reason something happens,
Mhm,
I'm okay.
mhm,
I'm going to
mhm.
be okay.
Yeah, so some of those values is to be more independent,
Hmm.
and if anything should happen in any relationship, you can stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's definitely a negative too.
Can be. It
Because
can be.
I find it that for us, he wants to help, and I have a hard time letting him in.
Mm,
A very hard time because I'm like, I'm used to a certain way of life, and I've never let anyone in as much
mhm.
as I've let him in. And so when he wants to help me cooking, I'm like, that's weird.
'Cause you're in a current relationship right now,
Yeah.
and this is where it's affecting.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I can
We'll
see it.
we'll definitely get to that a little later on, so stay tuned, folks. Um, were emotions openly well, you already said no, that they weren't talked about in your household. There was no discussion of
No.
relationships, which is in a way I get it. Like just to touch base back on that, growing up, my father did make sure that I understood that I have to value myself. And I was already independent by that time, but my father always wanted to make sure that I knew how to defend myself from anyone. And always said to me, rely on yourself and no one else. And I've done that. But as you get older and then you are part of a relationship, it could definitely be a negative because it's like you're so used to just I instead of we.
Hmm.
And I still struggle with that. And it's because I'm extremely independent. So is that a good thing? It's a good thing for us, because we can bounce back. It's a bad thing because our alpha energy takes over, and then the men's like, well, then I guess you don't need me. And then we expect them to do certain things
Yeah.
because of ourselves, and it can backfire.
Yes.
So at this point in my life, which your senior, um, they it can it came to a point that it does full circle. You don't want that energy anymore because you're so used to doing everything on your own. Then you get to a point you do get tired. But eventually, like for now, like I'm single, if I have a partner, if that partner has that quality, great. Am I expecting it? Of course I'm expecting it. I'm not gonna give anyone any kind of choices or options unless they have certain things or qualities. But I'm not rushing it. I'm
Yeah.
not pursuing it, and I don't want to change anyone because sometimes people. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of young folks do who are in a relationship or in any relationship is try to change the other person. When you try to instill your values and your beliefs onto the other person and change that person is no longer them. So you have to then realize, is this really the person for you? Right?
Yes, that's true.
So do you feel that your upbringing shaped you, what to look for or to avoid in a partner?
Ooh, I definitely believe I know exactly what I don't want. I
Good.
know I have, well, as you know, I've told you, I have
They,
rules in
they,
my
they need
life.
to know
Yeah, well, that's true.
if you want to share.
That's fine. No, that's okay. So, like, I know for a fact I don't want anyone younger than me, even by a day. I don't want anyone younger
She's
than
very stern on that.
me. The same day, I could let that pass, but even a day younger, no.
Hmm.
And I know I definitely don't want anyone that I don't feel safe with.
Hmm.
I don't want anyone that when they come home, I feel like I have to be in a rush, if that makes sense,
Hmm.
or get frazzled. I
Hmm.
don't want someone that raises their voice,
Hmm.
and I never want someone to ever raise their hand.
Hmm.
And I especially when I found it, it kind of shocked me because I never in my life would have thought I would want, as weird as it sounds, I never thought I'd want a gentleman. Like, and I
Hmm.
don't mean like a gentleman, I mean like a very gentle guy. I never thought I would want that because I never thought, in a weird way, I was worth gentle love.
Okay,
I
interesting.
always thought I needed a love that was hard, that was like,
Very masculine,
yeah,
very alpha, very
I
machista.
thought I needed that, or at least I thought I wanted that.
Hmm.
But when I met my current partner, and he's a very gentle guy, I realized I don't want that. I really am loving and enjoying a gentle love because it's, in a weird way, it's not easy, but it feels relaxing.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel pressured.
Yeah, I don't feel stress.
Oh, good. That's a good way of putting it. Take notes, people. Take notes. I'm even like, because I do know her boyfriend, and you'll get to meet him too. So
Huh.
stay tuned. Okay, so this area is more about personal growth and self-understanding.
Okay.
So how has your understanding of yourself has changed over the years, especially in the context of relationships?
Yeah, so a fun fact is that I never started dating till my 20s.
Okay, that is a
Yeah.
great fact.
Yeah, I was so focused on school. Nothing. It was tunnel vision. High school, I didn't even have a crush. It was school. I had to get into my school that my mom wanted me to get into. I had to get into a school that I was expected. I had
Mhm,
so many expectations just literally set on me like bricks
Mhm.
that I had to make sure that I took every single one of them down. I
Mhm.
had to make sure that I got into vet school the first year. I had to make sure that I got this, that I got that.
So
And I
you were
was,
very academically driven.
yeah, well, I was also scared
Mhm.
that if I ventured from the path in which my parents paved out for
Yeah.
me, that I would have been a failure. And I still have that fear of failure.
Okay. So you think that has maybe
That shaped a lot for
tipped
me
over
now.
to relationships?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
Because I'm so used to just this weird set of tunnel vision that
Mm,
I get stuck in this mindset of expectations that I can't even put on myself, let alone a partner.
right.
Because why am I expecting a partner who can't read minds because they're human?
Right. They can't.
Expect them to come to me when I'm mad and be all like, I know what I did wrong. He doesn't know what he did wrong.
Right.
Half the time, I don't even know what I'm mad at him for.
And that
But
happens
yeah,
to all of us.
but yeah, I need to take a step back and realize that like, I'll plan out this great day and it doesn't go exactly according to plan. And it's like it's ruined. And that's not
Mhm.
the case.
No. Yeah, that happens to a lot of us planners. We plan something, we do this, but I'm also a Libra, so I go with the flow. So I don't let one small thing bother me, but that came through with experience.
Yeah.
So that's a good lesson. So if it's bleeding over these sort of regimen expectations that you had, it's bleeding over to relationships, you are now recognizing
Hmm.
that maybe that's not right.
Yes.
Okay, good. This is why the growth is important, especially in mid-20s when you're starting a long-term relationship, because this is sort of, a lot of young folks in your same age. That's what they're looking for,
Yep.
trying to get this commitment. And they sometimes rush it that they don't really understand themselves. And then as they're with that person, and they, instead of growing together, they actually grow further apart.
Yeah. A lot of people my age, especially, don't really like to admit when there's something wrong with them or when there's something wrong. And for a while, I was the same. But you know what? There's a lot wrong with me.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
broken,
that is
but everyone's
That's
broken.
admirable, though. That's
Mhm.
admirable that you can actually sit there and tell the audience and tell even me that you recognize that within you and that
You
you
have
have
to.
work to do,
Mhm.
right? We all do. No one's perfect. I'm still evolving. Hey, I want to know as much as I can before I
Mhm.
perish, but I'm telling you, we're always evolving. So good for you. I'm glad that you're taking the steps to recognize that.
Oh, yeah.
That takes a lot of courage to admit. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for admitting that. Let me see what else I have here for you. Um, let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I get a good question in here. Oh, this is a good one. What personal boundaries have you had to learn and unlearn over time?
Oh, that's a hard one. So a lot of my personal boundaries stems with how I was raised.
Mm.
So I learned to completely and utterly seal off every single emotion
Oh,
because when I was younger, if I cried and if I messed up, I was punished.
oh,
It was never okay to say, I feel hurt this way or I'm crying because of this kind of manner. It was very
yeah.
much a you will be locked in the closet until you stop.
Oh, so you had a very strict,
Yeah.
very, yeah, okay. So that's why emotions and relationships wasn't talked about because I don't think your parents wanted to even encourage you. They were so focused.
Yeah, everything was academic. So emotions were invalid.
Oh,
They
wow.
weren't needed because why do you need emotions if I'm in school?
So now you see, now that you're older and those boundaries. So what boundaries have you?
Oh, a lot. So it's actually thanks to my current relationship that I realized in my past
Hmm.
that, wow, no, I was a jerk to a lot of these guys. And I didn't realize it until I had him.
Uh-huh.
And that's because he gives me the time
Hmm.
to to actually not get mad at me, to let me have a minute to realize, oh, it's okay to be upset. And it's okay for me to take a minute for me to tell him, hey, what happened earlier today, that hurt me. And it hurt me because it's not just it hurt me and I'm waiting for him to say, wrong, it didn't hurt you. You're not correct. You should be happy,
Mhm.
this, that.
Mhm.
And for someone to take the time to look at me and say, I'm sorry. I'm going to try my best not for it to happen again, or see the error and say, would have this made it better
Mhm.
or less or XYZ? It surprises me because I'm learning that it's okay to feel
Yeah.
and that boundary is breaking because emotions for me in general were both a boundary and a boundary that I'm breaking.
So basically, with this current situation that you're in, you are relearning that the boundaries you had are boundaries that you can change
Yes.
and get rid of that is hindering from you growing.
Yeah. I don't have to be a robot.
Oh, and blossoming into the, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
It's okay to feel angry, be sad, mad, happy. I can cry. Like I told you, I really don't cry because it was never really okay to cry.
Mhm.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be so upset that you cry or be so happy to cry.
Sometimes when I'm upset and I cry, but I still talk. Like you'll see tears coming, but I'm still talking and thinking.
Hmm.
Like I don't stop thinking or talking because I'm crying,
Yeah.
which is weird. People think it's cute. No, it's not cute. It's not cute. Thank you for that because, a lot of people don't recognize those boundaries. A lot of people don't realize that, your environment growing up has shaped you one way or another. And it's not until you want to coexist with someone else that you realize, oh, it's not you always right. What you thought it was right is not right.
Yes.
So that's in this situation, it feels like being in a long-term relationship is making you grow into the full-on adult.
Yes.
I have this theory, and some of you may agree or disagree. I have a theory that for us women, I feel like once you reach the age of 35, I feel at that time you really get to know who you are as a woman, full on woman, because you go through trials and tribulations in your life, but it's not until you're at least 35 years old that you actually reach that point. Because I went through that. And it wasn't until I was at least 35 that I recognized your value, your worth, and the caliber of a woman that you are. Excuse me, air got in my throat. And the same thing goes for men. Men is a lot longer. For men, it's like about 40 years old or 45 years old. It's when they realize truly what it is that they want out of life too, and who they are as a man and what it is that they want out of life. Because you can ask a lot of men what it is they want out of life, but go ahead and ask them every 5 years, and it's always going to be different. But I've already done the research. You guys can go ahead and do that if you want, if you're curious. Is there anything that you wish you could tell your younger self about love and dating?
It's okay. It's okay to fall in love.
Oh, because you were scared when you were not scared, but you were hyper focused.
Any of my past partners, I've
Hmm.
never loved them.
Oh,
This is my first love.
oh,
Yeah.
wow. So
They were
you,
there and I liked them, but I've never loved them.
wow.
This is my first love.
So you were really turned off
Oh,
with
yeah.
love and emotion. So if you could go back and tell your younger self, it's okay to love
Mhm.
and fall in love. That is so nice. For me, I'd be like, don't do it. I was like, don't do it. Don't fall in love. We all have different perspectives, right? Okay, so as far as dating sites, so I know I had in the past here people who talked about online dating,
Mhm.
organic dating, and how it doesn't work and how they miss certain things. But in your case, you have experience online dating. So first and foremost, what has been your experience with online dating, and what do you think about that?
Online dating, when I first ever tried it, was the true, like, you feel like you hit rock bottom. You're like, I'm here.
Really?
This is the leftover. But then I realized, I think we're all just kind of stuck. None
Okay.
of us know how to talk anymore. You can go
Mm-hmm.
to a bar and talk to a guy, but that guy will be the same as if he's texting on an online dating app. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same conversation.
Really?
Hi, what do you do? how's your day? It's the
It's
same stuff.
yeah,
It doesn't matter
I
if you talk
agree with that. That basic conversation. Hi, how you doing? What do you do for work? None of your business.
it's the same stuff. So at the end of the day, I realized about online dating is that, oh, it's the same as any just going out, except for
Really?
now it's more convenient. I don't have to actually go. I could just stay home and do it because maybe I will meet someone different somewhere further. And then now I actually have to meet them instead of at a bar and it be something weird even. Because what if he's a nice guy, but at the bar he's drunk and an idiot?
You know, this is a good perspective, folks, because I had here other people in the past that basically um didn't like online dating and they prefer the organic because organic they can get a better sense of people and so forth. And then here I have someone who is about 20 years younger than that other previous person and feels exactly that online dating and organic dating is exactly the same thing. Very interesting, folks. So you can see the different perspectives different generations have here. So thank you for that piece.
Yeah.
So what were your, let's say, some of your biggest surprises or lessons that you experienced from online dating?
Well, as rough as it is, a lot of guys lie. And
Really?
online dating, you can lie a whole lot easier than you can in person. For instance,
Wow.
just about how they look, because they're
Mhm.
based off a picture. Picture doesn't match when you meet in real life. The height doesn't match in real life. But
Catfish.
when you meet in person, you can't lie about any of that. I'm seeing you for the
Right.
first time. We're meeting
Yeah.
for the first time at, I don't know, MGM or something, and now all of a sudden you can't lie about your face,
Yeah.
about your
Yeah.
height. But
Yeah.
online, you can. I've
Yeah.
met plenty of guys that are like, "I'm 6'1". I'm like, "Does it matter?" No. I met him, I'm like, "Oh,
It
I'm pretty
matters to
sh—"
me.
Well, yes, it does. I know that. I'm like, like I'm pretty short. I'm 5'3", and I'm meeting him, and I'm looking down at him. I'm like, okay, we're not 6 foot,
Maybe
but
they transposed it.
I'm gonna respect it and just kind of go with the flow because that's what I do. I'm not just gonna leave because you lied. I'm gonna hear you out and stay.
Wow, you're nice. You know, I get to the point because I usually would call him out on that quick. I'm like, I don't lie about me or anything, and I expect what I put out there is the same thing. And it's
You want honesty back.
right. And sometimes you do get catfish, but I have no problems telling the person, man, I don't know what kind of picture you use, but you're 20 years older. And if you lied about your picture, what else can you lie about? You know what? Thanks, but I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I definitely
And I leave.
wish I could have said that in some cases,
Yeah.
but in all honesty, I sat down and I would just look at them. I would say, I would like you to explain why, because it's such a dumb thing to lie about, and it won't go past anything past whatever we
Right.
did, which is probably dinner or a coffee. But I want to know why. Like, what was your basis for this? Because clearly you're just not here mentally for this.
So I was there a long time ago, Bailey, and I'm going to tell you, don't waste your time.
I like to hear
I know. I was the same way, Bailey. I was exactly the same way. I got over that need to hear thing. And I'm like, I don't need to hear it because I already can tell. If
it.
you have lied already and you're going to continue lying, there's nothing good going to come out of that
Oh,
for
yeah.
someone. So I already can foresee, I'm not wasting my time or their time. I just, you know what? You don't care. It doesn't make me understand them better.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't, because I already
Gotcha.
understand
Gotcha.
that they have to hide behind or their mentality is fixated in something else. So
Okay.
that tells me they need a lot more growth and need to heal and need to be more on their own. So I don't want to be around for that.
Oh, you see, I like to hear the understanding. It won't go past anything, this, but I like
I
to
was
hear
like
it because, one, I started dating late, so I'm like, all right, loser, let's hear it.
that. That's true. But me, like, I just feel that because I've been in 3 serious long-term
Hmm.
relationships and now I'm like dating. I
Gotcha.
just don't have time because I already can foresee who
Gotcha.
they are as a person. So I can understand them without going into details, if that makes sense.
And yeah, that's more than fair.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
I'm certain if XYZ happened to me, I'd be in the same boat.
Yeah.
But right now, well, I'm happy right now. But
Yeah.
back then, I was just kind of like,
Yeah,
I got
let's
nothing better
pass
to do with my
time, pass
time.
time. So this is a good point. This is why dating and relationships in the different ages that we are,
Hmm.
different generation and different upbringing, some people can decipher a lot faster than others.
Hmm.
And if you ever wonder why, it's because of this. We have different types of experience and different upbringings,
Hmm.
and we can tell right away whether it's going to work or not. And if we're curious, then we'll stay there a little longer. If not, peace out. Okay. So, were there any specific red flags that you learned on the spot or to spot through your online dating journey?
Yes.
Talk,
So I
talk to me. I'm
definitely
excited.
learned that, well, as I said, I always learn, well, through the experiences that I have had, I really thought I needed like a man's man. Someone that's
Mm,
gonna be like, I don't really know how to describe it because I don't even think I even knew what I really
macho,
wanted
like
in
a
him.
macho guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought I always wanted that. But then I went on a few dates with some of them, and I was just like, I don't know if this fits me. It doesn't feel like it's a good match. And then
Mhm.
dated one guy like that, and I was like, I have to be happy. This guy is like, it's
Oh,
almost
oh, your
all my
boxes.
boxes. But I was like, I wasn't happy,
Mm.
and I never fell in love with him. I wasn't happy with him, and I was with him for some time, and I'm just like, I just don't think this is it.
So that's your red flag.
Yeah.
So now you know anyone who exhibits any of those types of behavior, you're like, no,
Yep.
next.
Luckily, he broke it off because I struggle with that. I
You
like
stroke, you let him break it
I
up.
like it when they break it off, so because
Okay.
I give the signs of I'm just, you distance yourself, you stop talking more, you're busy more. You give signs, and you hope they catch on. I can't do
So,
it.
so let's talk about that for a minute because this is something new. How come you, and I'm going to be honest, the reason why I asked that is because I went through a similar experience, but now I know because of that experience how to take charge in my life.
Hmm.
So why would you let someone else be in charge of something that you know is not going to work out?
That's a great question. I think my mindset was he's happy, so I'm gonna suck it up and just deal with it because he's
Mm.
happy. But if I can make him unhappy like me, he'll end it. And then it's done. I'm free.
So interesting, viewers, because you just explained what a lot of men do to women. Isn't that right, folks? A lot of men out there will be the a-hole, would be the one who cheated, the one who stayed out late,
Mhm.
who hung out with their friends. And they're doing that specifically when they're in a relationship. So the woman breaks it up. But women who don't break it up, they don't understand why the man treats them like crap.
Yeah.
And then it turns into a toxic or abusive relationship too. And if women just be like, you know what, you're not giving me what I want at the moment, you're not satisfying any kind of love or connection,
Hmm.
we're done. And it's okay. Anyone, guy or girl, if you're not happy in a relationship, don't drag it on. Just talk about it, communicate it. And if you guys are not right for each other, don't. If you want to make it happen, there's therapy, there's things that you can do. But really, really look into taking charge of your life. You don't want to be with someone, regardless of the history you have with that person, if you're not currently happy and you're not currently getting the expectations that you have set in a relationship for yourself. What's the point?
Yeah.
Like, don't, like, what I would suggest to you is like future reference. When you get to a point that you're not happy, make the decision. It's your life.
No, yeah. I've definitely learned
You
from that
learned
for
it.
sure.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
I
I've
was gonna be like,
definitely, I've learned from it for sure because I did that a couple of times. And then it just hit me one day when I was so unhappy with this one dude. I'm just like, get out. I couldn't do it. I was just like, oh, this man said everything wrong you can possibly think of wrong, did everything wrong, and then I about left this man on the highway. Literally, about pulled my car over. He's like, "You're walking. I don't care where you're walking to, but it's not my
but
house."
oh, well, there you go. There you go. That's what happens. Okay.
Everyone has that breaking point.
So, did online dating affect you? Um, in any way or any like consistency when it came to relationships, personal relationships? Like, did online dating help you or affect you in any way, or did it scare you?
Online dating, I want to say it brought a new perspective on relationships.
Okay.
It showed me how you can form an amazing connection, one that you never even thought would be possible,
Hmm.
even if you met in person. And
Hmm.
it also showed me that in this world, there will be people, no matter what, no matter how good you think they could be,
Hmm.
they are not for you.
Right.
So it gave me such a different perspective on relationships.
Hmm.
It showed me that someone could be for me that I just never even would have thought of, and someone that I thought checked every single one of my boxes.
Hmm.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
And it's a shock because people think that they have these magic boxes. They think that they have these quotes, these
Mhm.
ideals, because I was there too. But the truth of the matter is that if you stick in that world, you're not going to find your person.
It's a very good point that you said that, because lately there's been a lot of talk about when you're dating, check this box, check that box, check this other box. And a lot of people don't want to be put in a box. A lot of people be like, well, don't put me in a box. And I'm like, well, I'm not putting you in a box, but there are certain things and qualities that I seek for.
Yep.
So those are things that are important to me
Hmm.
in my way of thinking. But sometimes we got to change the language, like checking boxes and all that. It, let's just say checking a box for a lot of people, even though that term can be negative, is also understanding the other person that you want to be with.
Hmm.
If you're not checking their boxes or their way of looking for things, it just means that maybe you just are not a right fit. And I've been told that a lot lately. They don't want to be put in any boxes. And when people say that to me, that they don't want to be put in a box, and then they don't give me an explanation as to why,
Hmm.
I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to move on to another box.
Yeah. Something I heard once was that I could, because I wanted someone that, as stupid as it sounds, I'm like, I want someone that would buy me flowers. I want someone,
It's not stupid.
well, like nice, like the flowers that you see in like the little reels. This, I
You
wanted
might be
this.
romanced.
I did, however, the ideals that I had with that were set in
Oh,
such a weird way with the ideal of this man has money. But what is the
okay.
purpose if a man can buy me a flower shop? He could buy me a coffee shop if he can't even tell me what my favorite flower is. I want a guy, even if he has no money, I want him to look at me and tell me, your favorite flower is this. Your
Well,
favorite color is this.
you
I
have
may
a
not be able to
reveal.
buy it for you, especially right now or whatever else, but this is what it is.
So you want someone to really know you inside and out.
It doesn't, yes. The money, it can come and go,
Yes, it does. Money comes and goes.
but I want someone that will look at me at the end of the day, will hold my hand and say, we're going to do it together. Not just say, oh, I gotta go. It's this, it's that. That when I get sick, he's gonna come and be with me for my treatments.
Yeah.
He's not gonna say that he has to leave so that way he can make
Hmm.
money to do this, or
Hmm.
because yeah, ultimately that's the case.
Yeah.
But I want someone that will hold my hand at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's true. Like when people make a commitment to one
Mm.
another, through sickness and in health, if people actually want to get married and all that, hey, good for you guys. So those people who want to get married and start a family and start all this great thing. Me who've been there, done it. It's not all roses. So really take into consideration any commitment you make with any other person. And if you want to keep that alive, communication.
Yeah.
Communication is key. Without communication, no relationship is going to last. There's
Mm.
going to be a lot more trouble without it. But again, getting to know someone who really cares for you and makes your priority, you'll know, but only time will tell that. It's one thing for them to say it to you, there's another thing for them to show you.
Yeah.
And with me, when you're in a relationship, that usually doesn't start until the second or third year. To be quite honest, for those of you who really are in a long-term relationship, for those of you who are in a new relationship and your significant other does all these things, be careful. That could be love bombing. And then
Yes.
a year or two will go by and that does not exist anymore. So be very careful. At the very beginning, the first 6 months to a year in a relationship, love bombing is real and it's not who they are until the second year. And that's the test of time. So just remember that, folks. I mean, you can agree or disagree, but that has been my experience. Maybe your experience in somewhat way.
I mean, I've definitely experienced love bombing. I
Hmm.
think anyone who's been in the dating field has been through something like that.
Hmm.
But I definitely believe you can't rush anything.
Right.
Everything will come with time, and those who want to actually be in a relationship with you
Hmm.
will be their authentic selves from the start. They're not going to
Exactly.
hide and creep away or slowly become themselves. They're going to be completely who they are
Mhm.
from the beginning.
I know there's been some folks, well, there's been some guys who have approached me lately and they're their authentic self. And I cannot not talk to them because they're so genuine
Yeah,
that I'm like, okay, so this is this person. Okay, they're not faking it.
yeah,
And it makes me curious to get to know them. So you're right. Some people can be authentic and you can tell right away. And some people are just like, you're just waiting for
yeah.
the jack to pop out of the box.
Hmm.
So in your current relationship, because you mentioned that you're in a current relationship, how long have you been in that relationship?
We are, I think we're a little over it. He knows exactly. I
A
think it's been a year and some.
year, okay, a little over a
Yeah,
year.
a little over it.
Okay. So how did you meet your current partner and what did it feel different about him?
So I met my current partner through Hinge,
Hmm.
and
Online dating site?
oh yeah, and when we first started just messaging, something I don't know, I can't explain other than when I messaged him and he messaged me back, he was so goofy that I had to keep talking to him. He was his self through message one.
Wow.
Through when I just said, "Hey," something so plain, something so because I was over the day, and he came with me with something so freaking goofy, left field, funny. I'm like, I need to talk to this guy. And then it was in the middle of tax season, and it's important because he brings it up like nothing. I was so stressed with my taxes. I put all my stress into one big message and sent it to him, thinking that's I'm not gonna hear from him again. And this man texts me back saying, "Wow, that's a lot to take." He goes, "Thanks for sharing your tax." And the fact that he messaged me back after that, I was like, I would meet him. I would meet you in person.
Oh, he passed that test.
He did. And then I stopped our conversation midway one time because there was a spider in my home,
Hmm.
and I hate bugs. So I'm like, this is gonna take me 2 hours to kill. To trap it, I have to figure out a way to kill it without me touching it or being near it. And I just simply ended the conversation with, "There's a spider, bye." And he messages me back going, "Is it dead? You okay? Did you survive?" Through the whole time I was gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of like this guy. Like,
Hmm.
he's kind of funny.
Hmm.
And then we met up in Boston for mini golf. And I drove there all the way from Springfield. I'm like, this guy better be freaking
Oh,
worth it.
been there, done that. Let me tell you, I don't do that no more. But
I mean, I'm glad I did at the end of the
yeah.
day. But I got there, and the first thing this guy wears on our first date is this bright orange puffer coat. He looked like a goldfish sitting on the side of the road. He got one eye looking left, one eye looking right, and just sitting there. And I'm just like, that's my date. When I walked up to him,
He
we
made an
played.
impression on you.
He did. And he cheated at mini golf and he
He
won. He
did.
cheated. No matter what he says, he cheated. And from the very first time I saw him, I think, in that orange puffer coat,
Yeah.
I think I knew.
Well, let's just say I play bowling with Bailey. She cheats too. She uses bumpers.
That's not cheating. That's using my tools to my advantage.
No, that's cheating.
It's my tool.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Okay, so how? Okay, let's just say this. You mentioned support and you mentioned being seen in the way he's different. So, what ways do you feel supported and seen in your current relationship?
As classic as it sounds, for the first time, he's taught me how to communicate.
Mm.
Like I said, now that I'm with him,
Mhm.
no, I have a lot of apologizing if I ever see one one of the guys before because I didn't talk to these guys.
Okay.
I just let them flounder.
Well, maybe they were your tests, you know?
They definitely were. Because he's taken me and he's told me, hey, so when you're feeling like this, like he's truly walked me through it. He's made me feel safe. I've never felt safe before.
Mhm.
And he's made me feel safe, especially in the situation in which we are in.
Mhm.
That's even stranger that I feel safe because he's not with me physically
Mhm.
all the time. So I'm like, that's unique.
That is unique for you to feel safe even when he's not around.
Yeah. I mean, we have fought, we have had some ugly fights,
Long
but
distance fights.
well, long distance and in person.
Oh,
But no matter how we fight, he will always give me the time of day to look at me and say, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. The fight is not a fight against you and me. It's us versus the problem.
wow. He sounds very mature.
He gets it from me.
She doesn't want to give him credit. You got to give him credit. He's taught you a lot so far.
Oh no, he
He's
has.
taught you how to love.
Yes.
He's taught you patience.
Yes.
He's taught you how to communicate.
Yes.
He's made you feel secure even
Yes.
through long distance.
Hmm.
Yeah, girl. That's amazing.
It is. He's an
Yeah.
amazing guy.
Aw.
He's got so many qualities that I've never once seen in myself.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see it in him,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything as flaws. And I'm not saying he's
You're giving me
perfect.
goosebumps, girl.
No one is perfect, but when I look at him, I just know everything's going to be okay. I could be stressed out with
He's your
anything.
comfort.
Yeah,
He's your comfort pillow,
yeah,
whatever you want to call
he is. He does so much, and yet he could just sit there and do nothing. And I know that if I asked, or even if I don't ask, he's going to do it.
And that's actually a good thing because you know how sometimes when you go out in public or whatever and you see a couple together and then you see like, wow, they look miserable together. Like,
Yeah.
why are they even together? And then you have a conversation with them and then you find out that they're the most loving, understanding couple, but yet they don't look like it.
Hmm.
Because I've seen a lot of couples like that, that they look like they're like miserable, but they're like, no, I know she's there. Oh, I know he's there. We're good. We don't have to talk to each other all the time. We're good.
Yeah.
I was like,
You see, we
oh,
could be doing something together. We
mm-hmm,
could be having a great time, but at the same time, I can do my thing and he can do his.
mm-hmm.
And we're still just as happy. He could be playing his little games on his computer, and I'll be doing an art project. We're doing two separate things in two different areas.
You guys are already 80 years old.
But that makes us so happy, though.
So just kidding. That's good though,
Yeah.
because this is important, and especially in new relationships. So if you're in your mid 20s and you're falling in love and you're with someone a year plus and you feel like Bailey's describing, then this is a good, healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Would you say that right now in your current relationship, besides feeling secure and
Mm.
communicative, it feels healthy?
I would say it feels healthy. I don't have a good understanding of what that is, to be
Yeah.
truthful with
Not
you.
yet, not yet.
But if you ask me if I feel safe, to me that's healthy. If you
Mm-hmm.
ask him if he's happy and he says yes, and he feels safe, and he feels everything that he needs to feel,
Mm-hmm.
then I would say that's healthy.
That's good. As long as you give each other that space
Hmm.
to feel, because you're not going to feel happy all the time.
Oh, I know.
Especially as women, we go through monthly changes in moods, roller coasters. We can't help it. We can't help it. But when we do go through it and have someone who understands it and gives us space,
Hmm.
then you got to appreciate that person for doing those things
You
too.
really do.
Yeah, because that's what a relationship is, folks.
But you also have to know how to grow apart
Yes.
because that's also an advantage of long distance, though.
Yeah.
We
Talk to me
grow
about that.
we grow apart, but also together. We don't have the leisure of learning how to grow together all the time. When
Mm,
we're together, yes, we grow together as a couple in person. But when we're apart, which we are for 80% of the time,
mm,
we have to learn how to grow as our own individual selves. And for
mhm,
me, I think that works out so perfect because I am so independent. And that when he's here, he teaches me how to rely on him. But I'm not also getting that pressure of I have to let go like immediately. I'm learning how to do it slowly.
Mhm.
And with our breaks, it helps because I'm like, oh, he used to do this. And it keeps my mind going, well, when he comes back,
Mhm.
he'll do it.
Mhm.
He'll do it again. But I'm also able to do it on my own.
Mhm.
I'm able to grow as a person. I can make friends on my
Mhm.
own.
Mhm.
I'm able to go to the gym, all this on my own. Get
Mhm.
healthy, go to XYZ, and
Mhm.
it's me.
Mhm.
And then when he's here and we do it together,
Mhm.
it feels even more special.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've known you for some time now.
Hmm.
Not as much, but I think we've done a lot, and I've seen both of you interacting individually, and then you interacting as a couple, and then like for me, that's what I found this very admirable, and hence why you were here, sitting,
Yeah.
having a conversation with our folks here to talk about these important topics in relationships, especially when you are with someone, and 80% of the time that person's not near you, but you're still communicating
Yeah.
and getting to know each other that way. That's amazing. So, reflection and moving forward. Do you think your past relationships were necessary for you to grow into the partner you are today?
Yes. Because I realized I didn't really like any of them. I realized exactly what I don't want
Hmm.
thanks to them.
Hmm.
Also thanks to how I was raised, but also thanks to them.
Hmm.
And that does deserve things. I also realized that at the end of the day, even though we're not together, they could have been a horrible person. At the end of the day, I still have respect because I have respect for myself. So I need to have respect in them because I did date them.
Hmm.
So they have that level of respect because I'm not going to go out there bad mouthing, trashing. I don't see that as anything as productive, let alone as something that I would find attractive in a man. Saying
Hmm.
he comes to me and he's bad mouthing all of his exes, whatever, whatever, whatever. That's not attractive.
No.
And I needed to learn that because a lot of the guys do that. They're just like,
Yeah,
she was horrible.
that's a
She
red
did this,
flag,
she
by
did
the way.
that. I'm just looking, I'm just like,
Would you
okay, but you
agree?
dated. Oh, yes.
It, Listen, folks, if you're starting to date, right,
Mm-hmm.
guy or girl, and they badmouth their ex partners, that means that they're failing to say what they have to say about themselves, because it takes two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is bad mouthing their ex partner, that's a red flag, because that means you didn't learn anything in that relationship. Do you
That's true.
agree?
And you also don't have respect in yourself.
Correct.
And you need to have respect in yourself at the end of the day. That's all you have.
Absolutely. And what has been the most healing, transformative moments for you um, in a healthy relationship, with the current relationship right now?
Time. Giving me time. Because I'm slow. I'm slow to love. I'm slow to relationships. I'm slow to my emotions, my feelings. So that patience
Hmm.
means the world to me.
Especially when you describe your upbringing, and what you didn't see and what you lacked growing up, and now that you are in a relationship and you're experiencing everything for the first time, that patience, the time, it's what's making you become the Bailey. This is what I mean. When you become 35, you'll see a whole new Bailey. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So time, it's important, and I think very valid. Are there any aspects of your upbringing, this is again moving forward, um, that you had healed from in order to build the current relationship you're in? Like, anything that you talked about, I just mentioned it, and then you're in a healthy relationship now, or so it seems, based on what you're saying and based on other people's experiences, like my experience. Um, do you feel that now you have a reference to look back what's healthy, not healthy?
I feel like when I look back, I don't see it as healthy or not healthy. I definitely see it as just survival. So I see what surviving is,
Mm-hmm.
and I see what the possibilities for my future could be. Because I never want to put a label on a whole other person's relationship, especially those that I do love,
Mm-hmm.
if it was healthy or unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because although I was raised in it or XYZ, I didn't experience it. I have been told a lot and I have been blamed for a lot. And a
Wow.
lot of different scenes and scenarios into which I will either take it or not take it. It doesn't affect me
Right.
because at the end of the day, a person's relationship when they have a child is truly their relationship at the end of the day. It can't be blamed on the child.
Absolutely. Ch-
So,
Children are not at fault in relationship. Those are the adults
yeah.
in the relationship.
And I don't think that a child should ever be blamed for staying in a
Mhm.
relationship either. So,
Correct.
again, I won't ever comment on someone's relationship because I do believe it was just survival
Hmm.
and their relationship is their own. But I know that for me, I don't want to be in survival mode. I
Hmm.
want to experience love.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone should have experienced love. We're all worthy of being loved and to love. And love is one of the highest form of frequency. But the highest form of frequency than love is authenticity. So keep that in mind
Yeah,
for future reference. Okay, so if you were to give advice to someone, okay, who's just starting out in a relationship or online dating and trying to have a commitment, what would you say? So go ahead and address the audience for this. What would you say?
I would say if you are someone that was in a situation such as myself, you kind of started out later, you have a set goal, you achieve those goals, and you're just kind of getting into the field, trying to figure out what works for you and love and not love. I would definitely say take your time and know that it's completely okay. Your feelings are valid. You, as a person, with all flaws and all, are valid, and that it's okay to fall in love and that love not work out because at least you have experienced it. You understand that when you fall in love again,
Hmm.
you're going to say, it's okay.
Exactly. I know what this is all about. This is why, for me, um, I can give advice to someone when they go through a breakup
Hmm.
because a breakup is a temporary feeling that you get and it's immense and it's like letting out everything that you had. But know that it's going to be okay
Yeah.
and not to let yourself be sucked into the emotional turmoil all the time. You also have to learn how to find yourself in that process. So yes, grieving a relationship and crying a relationship is it's healthy, but you got to do it in a way that you know you're going to come out of it. But if you feel like it's the end all, then that's a mentality change that you got to do. So
Hmm.
that piece, I can give someone advice, you know,
Hmm.
heartache and breaking up. It doesn't take me long to get over someone because I know myself. And I
Yeah,
think some people, when they break up, they lose themselves.
they can.
And so it takes them a lot longer to recover because they need to find themselves
Or they
um,
give too much of themselves to
in a
that person.
relationship. And I've learned to just recover, find out who you are first
Hmm.
before you get in a relationship, but make sure you maintain that individuality in a relationship. And I think
Yes.
this is what you talked about. Having a long distance relationship kind of helps because you find your way
Yeah.
and he finds his way. That ultimately, when you come together, you come together.
Yeah. Because I have my friends
Hmm.
and he's met you guys and he loves you guys. He has his friends and I've met his
And he
friends.
loves us. Oh.
But we're not together. We have to go out. You have to be a human every now and then. You can't be a little hermit. And so to grow that way as an individual is really nice.
Absolutely. So definitely take everything that, Bailey is sharing here with a grain of salt, information that helps you become a better version of yourself. Great. And if you feel it doesn't resonate at all, don't worry about it. Just share this with other friends. It's okay. All right. So we're almost coming to the conclusion. So what do you hope to continue learning about love, partnership, and yourself in the future?
I hope to learn that I will be able to come to terms with that I will have to change a lot of myself, not in a negative way or change my personality, none of that, but change myself in a way to be better for myself and for my partner.
Hmm.
Because, yeah, I'm broken and I know I'm broken, but
We're all
at least
broken.
I can, exactly.
We're all broken.
But I want to be able to look at my broken pieces and say, how can I collect them and make them a little less broken? put them back together in a sense.
Yeah, it's like this. A lot of the times, a good analogy
Hmm.
when you just describe that, me and my sister and a couple other folks, we went to pottery
Hmm.
to do this thing. I made this thing. It didn't look like this, right? So it was a big blob. So a big blob is you, right? This is you. And then with time and good direction and good guidance, you will eventually be from a blob to a beautiful, colorful vase like this.
Yeah.
Look at that. So basically, it takes time to mold yourself.
Mhm.
It takes time to learn and to grow. And you have put this you articulated so well everything you mentioned that I hope that folks who are in their mid 20s understand that it takes time to heal. You have to change things about you to become the better version of yourself. And this is what I meant earlier, that women usually takes them to be at least 35 years of age in order for all that molding to happen. So you can be that better version. If at 35 years of age you feel that you are not your best version, then that means you have work to do. You have to be real with yourself, talk to yourself, and put your pros and your cons and just work on what you want to do on so you could be the better version. Because if you could be the better version of yourself, then you're going to be able to give more to that other partner that you choose to have in your life. And we're all learning, we're still getting molded little by little. But I think you'll have a better view of life and who you are and what you want in the future at that age. Right now, you're still learning,
Yeah.
and you validated that for me. So thank you for sharing
Yeah.
your story.
Thank you for having me.
And we're definitely going to have you back, hopefully as a couple. But again, viewers, thank you so much for being part of this amazing session. Again, like, share, subscribe, and we'll look to see you soon on our next show. So thank you, Bailey.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.